Welcome to Empowered by East. My name is Ainsley.
And my name is Gabby. Join us as we explore how East impacts thousands of students and communities by transforming education.
Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Empowered by East. Today's episode is a special one, as Gabby and I split up to have one-on-one conversations with some of our community partners and clients. The work East students do wouldn't be possible without our clients presenting problems to solve and our community partners providing us with the resources, knowledge, and encouragement we need to get the job done. We're excited to share just a couple of examples on how East has impacted our communities. Enjoy! Okay, so I'm here today with Marsha Walker and Roger Lee. So you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves for the listeners, what you do in the community, and your affiliation with East.
Okay. I am Marsha Walker, and I am currently the vice president of the Dover Area Chamber of Commerce. And we are the community group that puts on 2 community events in our little town.
And how about you, Roger? What's your story?
Mayor here in Dover. I have 3 children, all 3 graduated from Dover High School. Has been 10 plus years since my youngest graduated. I had no idea what East was or that it even existed. A couple years ago, 2 of the students from East contacted me by email, and they said they would like to have a project concerning the sidewalks in Dover. From there, they came to a council meeting. They brought a video presentation, and they had targeted a certain area of sidewalk that was in terrible disrepair and asked that if the city would be interested in working with them and getting that area repaired. Personally, I had spoken before to the council in previous meetings prior to the East students approaching us, and I had targeted another area in town where there was no sidewalk, and that's what I personally felt like was more important, to get sidewalk put in there, and actually had considered removing the sidewalk that the students approached us with, that section. After their presentation, it was very obvious to me that more students used the sidewalk than others, even other citizens. And it opened my eyes as to how it should be prioritized on the sidewalks. And with that, thanks to their presentation and attention, we just recently, within a month, completed replacing the part that they had presented. This year, I've been approached by actually 3 students, 2 of them on a project for parking at the city park, making some suggestions / improvements. The other student has presented an idea for a fountain drinking facility for pets at the city park, and brought to the council and mine attention that we don't even have a water fountain for people at the park. We have water, a fountain, a spigot, but no fountain. So most likely that's going to come to fruition with the East program's help, and we'll see where the parking area goes. We also have a engineering firm in Russellville that's working with us, going to assist the students. So long story short, I now know what East is. They have definitely been instrumental in improving Dover. And the students that come to the council meetings, they get a firsthand, not view, but experience of how our local government works, which is democracy in its simplest form. And they have all been very professional and helpful. So I have a high opinion of the East program.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know that my first couple years of East before the sidewalk project started, it was hard for me to conceptualize how East was helping. And then I was going to school one day and I saw that they were making completely new sidewalks for those that were handicapped and couldn't just walk, or people who couldn't drive. And I was like, "Oh, who did that?" And I went to school and asked about it, and they're like, "Oh, it was the East program." And that was like a wow moment for me because I was like, "Oh my goodness, they like did all of that." Because as a smaller school, when you go and see other schools doing stuff, you're like, "Yeah, but we have a smaller town, so like where would we even do that at?" But it's very plausible with a lot, like it's very plausible anywhere. You can do tons of things. And one of those things that I see every year is the Ozark Memories Day and the Hometown Christmas because I go out and I see a bunch of kids working and they're all with East. So, with that being said, Marcia, you're involved a lot with the East students. What impact have you personally witnessed while you're working with the East students?
Well, to give an example, in some of our meetings, um, some people have said, we need more volunteers for certain areas. Let's just put a sign up sheet school wide, and anyone from the school should be able to sign up and volunteer.
Mhm.
And while we do sort of agree with that, one reason we only want to use students from the East program are because we know that they're trustworthy and they are upstanding citizens. They're kids who have community involvement in mind. They have had some experience with local government. They've been involved with us. So I think one of the main things is trust. Not that you can't trust other kids, it's just East kids are more impactful. They're respectful to their peers, and they absolutely know what the end goal is, and they're invested in that.
Yeah, I think that since the East environment is less of a school, like not a school thing, but strictly math or strictly science, you learn a lot about how to work with other people and what to do or what not to do. Um, in your position as mayor, how do you feel about the younger generation that you've been seeing and what they're doing and their ideas? Because I know you said that you think they have some great ones.
Very impressed. I think I could sum it up in a few short words as to my opinion of the East program. What it will teach the students is that they can make a difference as a group or as individuals. The sidewalk project was a prime example of that. I can very confidently say I don't feel that that part of that sidewalk would have been replaced without the East students and they're
Mhm.
bringing attention to it. So yeah, I think it would teach them that when they see a need or area for improvement, they can be the one to initiate it and see it through. Thus far, it hasn't been necessary, but I would like to see there are some grants out there for projects, and I have personally gone and you present your project to a board in the Capitol and you're selling your project. And there's other mayors, park directors, so on and so forth, from all over the state. I would love to go up there and take one or two or three, whatever, East student and present that. To me, that would just be the icing on the cake to say this is coming from our high school. I thought that may happen with the sidewalks. It just didn't.
Mhm.
Could be with the park or the only problem with that is most of the grant programs, they start 2 years before and it's just so drawn out and takes so long. But I would love to. That's a somewhat of a dream of mine. I would love to go up there and take some students with
Yeah, I think it's really inspiring to see students doing like I say big girl things, like when you go out and get a big girl job, but they're up here talking to like the student council or not the student council, council meetings. They're at council meetings or they're doing things like that, which you said, which they're going from state representatives or just doing really cool things. It's fun to see somebody do that. And then you realize, oh, they're in middle school or they're in high school. They're under 18 and they're already doing this.
them. Yeah.
Well, and to your point, also, the that area of the sidewalk was not even on the radar
No.
of the city.
Mm,
And the kids realized that those sidewalks that you were gonna replace would basically not help at all. And the real need was something that a kid
Yep. What they use
brought to their city government,
Mhm.
and
without naming the business or whatever, they said, us kids, we use it.
yeah.
We go from here to the store, McBee's, we all know that.
Yes.
Anyway, and I went down there and my God, you couldn't even walk down it without tripping. There's no way in this world. I almost had to bleep me right there. There's no and heck that you could ever got down it as a any kind of difficulty as far as crutches or wheelchair or anything. Where now it's ADA
Yeah.
compliant. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
It's really great to see these big ideas that people have. And you're like, oh my goodness, like somebody's getting paid big bucks to think of that. And then it's like, oh my goodness, that was a 14-year-old.
Yep.
Yeah.
It can happen. And I told them back to the grant, the possibility of them being instrumental in securing a grant. And I've told the students this year, I said, if the funding's not there, don't get discouraged because I promise you the idea will not die.
Yeah.
It may sit there for a while until the funding becomes available. Well, it took 2 years on the sidewalk. I didn't think it happened that fast.
Mhm.
And the council, the council just decided, hey, we got enough money sitting right here. I didn't think they would. I said, let's spend it. And it's just been awesome. I've gotten more compliments on the sidewalk, I think, than I know any project we've done in Dover.
Mhm.
And it's obviously it's visible. And you see the kids walking down it and others. Right after he got finished, I seen a lady with a walker, elderly lady, and she was going down there. I didn't have anybody behind me there in front of your old house. I just stopped. I thought, wow,
You're like, hey,
that wouldn't have been.
that's right. That's right.
So anyhow, I think you guys have a wonderful program going here, and then you've already improved our community.
Hi guys, my name is Hayden Taylor and I am an East student contributor. Each month, students like me share stories on everything our peers are accomplishing within East in the East Perspectives newsletter. Don't miss out on how East is providing incredible opportunities to thousands of students. Sign up for the newsletter today at eastlink.me/eastperspectives. Now enjoy the rest of the episode empowered by East.
So go ahead and introduce yourself for the listeners, who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Teresa Shatwell, and I'm on the board for the Dover Public Education Foundation. And that's an organization that we formed in 2011 because there were so many things that were underfunded at school, especially in a low-income school. We don't have a lot of businesses in our town that can help the school out. And so we formed this 501c3, which is a tax-free organization for parents to have an opportunity to connect with the school, for businesses to be able to donate to the school. And East has been a big part of that. We've not only granted some things for East, but we've also they've supported us in so many different ways. So that organization is just an opportunity for parents to connect with other people and to connect and give funding to the school through a tax-free organization.
Yeah, Dover Public Education Foundation, a whole big mouthful. DPEF is just what
Yes.
I call it. And I know whenever I talk about DPEF, they're like, D what? DFED? And I'm like, no. DPEF, Dover Public
Right.
Education Foundation.
Right.
So if we refer to it as that in a second, that's what it is,
That
because
sounds good.
that's just kind of what I end up doing it as.
We do too.
Yeah. So how have you worked with East students in your position as your treasurer, right?
I'm the secretary.
Secretary.
Right.
I get them mixed up, but you're the secretary.
I handle the gala and, do all of the reservations and the paperwork and the publicity for the gala. And East has just been so supportive of all that, in that when we first started, we don't have a lot of the technology or technological knowledge that East kids have. And especially that's where it came into play with us. We were able to go to East and say, we have all of these people who are giving donations and silent auction items for our big gala, but we need help getting this all put together. And so they would develop things like inserts for silent auction that goes into our brochures, and they would do a video every year that was amazing because they would go out and interview the teachers and the students that have received grants from us, and then they were able to put it together and really have a great view of our mission and get that accomplished, to translate that into something, a technological video that allows people to see what they are actually funding. So that was a great opportunity for us that East kind of bailed us out on that because it was something we did not have the talent for, but we had some place to go to ask and say, can you help us do this? And I know especially the last 2 years have been awesome. And you did those videos.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding. You were able to get in my head and get that idea that we were trying to come across with, and you were able to put it into a fantastic video. And we were so proud of the video, and so many people have complimented on that, us on that, and the fact that East did that and put together that for us and did such a phenomenal job.
Well, when they asked me to do the video the first year, which was not this year, but last year, I was like, sorry, what's who? Right. And then they were like, oh, it's just, you just have to make this video. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I started doing it, and I would reach out to you, but you had taken a week-long vacation. So I was like, it was before I knew you and had become like closer with you. And I was like, this lady, she's asking me to do something, and then she's going for a week to Italy or something.
And it was a great vacation.
I mean, I'm sure it was, but I was just sitting here twiddling my thumbs because I had no idea what was going on. And I made the video, and I am not a very, I don't gloat. I am kind of the opposite. I'm never I don't think what I do is great. Right. So when I made the video, you were like, this is amazing. And I was like, you're just saying that. And then the next year you had asked me to do it again. And I didn't go to the gala the year before, even though you guys invited me because I was busy. And I went this year to the gala, and I hadn't known what the gala was for. And we went, and I watched the video, and I was like, okay, I can see why, because people would watch it. And then at the end of the gala, you ask them to donate. Right. And I guess what is the gala is mostly that, right?
Mostly the gala is a fundraiser for us. It's our big fundraiser of the year. And it's something that we put together as a way for the community to be able to get in the doors and see what they're funding and to talk to each other and put parents involved. I love that they watch that video and then they ask other questions, and it also gives them other ideas. And they're like, oh, I know something that really is underfunded in this district that needs, help, that needs some financial assistance. And so they donate, and they can actually specify for that particular thing that they're thinking of. And East students have been great about coming to us with ideas, things that they saw. We funded a grant last year for hammocks. Mm-hmm. And it was such a fun grant because really on their downtime or sometimes on a really nice day, research shows us that kids need to get outside. They can sit outside and read or do that assignment as easily as they can do it inside. And so we funded that grant from an East student who requested those hammocks, and it didn't cost a lot. It was easy to do. We did it in partnership with the school. They put up the posts, and then we funded all the hammocks and the hardware that went with that. But it's just a fun way for kids to get involved in the school process. And I notice East students now are finding needs and are coming to us themselves. We don't just fund teacher grants or things the school has asked for. We fund grants that kids ask for, too. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the examples from an East student that, hey, I see a need for this. There's nowhere to sit. It'd be fun to just go outside for a while. And so that's the type of things we do. But I love that East initiative. And that's one thing I've noticed about East kids more than anything. They have initiative. When I gave you that, I did. It was a blank slate. You had no idea. And I was on vacation trying to communicate that to you and which grants, and so many of our grants are last minute that it's something that has to be put together fairly quickly. And so I felt your pain in that, what am I supposed to do with this? But I feel like you got my vision and you figured out how to put this together. You did a great job with interviews with teachers and the kids. You got the photographs in place, and you did that all on your own. I love that. I essentially hand that to an East kid, and they've got it. I don't have to sit down a lot of times and hold their hand and go with them to interviews. They've got it. They get their cameras, they go out, they take the photos, they put the videos together, and to me, that takes a lot of initiative, but it also takes a lot of perseverance. Even when they're uncertain, and I know sometimes you've asked me, I'm having trouble getting this teacher to say, to get the interview. And then I can step in and say, okay, I need this interview done. You're right on it, and boom, it gets done. But I love that East kids tend to have more initiative than a lot of kids I see.
Can you please introduce yourself and your role at the Children's Safety Center?
I'm Peyton Stuman. I have been at the Children's Safety Center for about 4 years, and I am the marketing strategist here. So I handle website, social media, all sorts of anything to do with marketing.
All right, that's great. What is the mission of Children's Safety Center?
So our mission is essentially to make sure that every child that comes into the center, children that have been impacted by abuse, have everything that they could possibly need to get them through the process. So we have advocacy, forensic interviewing, medical exams, therapy, prevention and education, all the things, and it all happens under one roof. And it's to make sure that every investigation is centered around a kid and not around people just trying to get their jobs done.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing that you guys are doing for kids.
Thank you.
What can you share with us on how you came to work here at the CSC?
Yeah, so I started volunteering with the Children's Safety Center while in college. I grew up in Springdale, which is where the center's been since it opened, but didn't really, as a kid, you might not necessarily know that this exists. It's really cool that we've been able to reach more kids, that they know that we're here. But when I was growing up, kids didn't really know that it was here unless you had to receive services from us. So growing up, I didn't know it existed. I got to college and I was in a sorority, Kappa Delta, and their philanthropy, their focus is confidence and also child abuse prevention. And so we give money and raise money and do stuff for a local advocacy center that helps kids. And for us in Washington County, that was the Children's Safety Center. And so I got involved and helped volunteer. I did some volunteer marketing, and also helped with our big event, our circus-themed event, Dream Big, and was part of that all through college, and found that they had a job opening when I was looking after I had graduated, and it was just a perfect fit, and I was excited to be able to kind of bring together something really important to me, the cause, our mission, also service, but also things I felt like I was really good at, marketing, and all in my hometown, so it was really cool.
Yeah, that seemed to work out great for you. You were once an East student yourself. How did you experience the impact by you coming and working here?
Yes, so I was an East student, and mostly just in high school, so at Harbor High School. And I think I always had a love of service and giving back, and also creative problem solving is a skill set that most people that I work with would tell you that I have. And I credit that a lot to my experience in East. And it's been really cool now working and being in an organization that can benefit from East to see, I think people really underestimate the benefit of students. For us too, having students that are advocating for what we do is even better because we're serving kids just like them. And so having you guys be able to reach your peers is really impactful for us. But also you have a lot of access to tools and things that we don't, and that are completely outside of what I can get done in a day. And so having you guys help has saved our organization lots of money, has truly thoughts outside of the box of ideas that we never would have thought of, solutions we never would have come up with, provided by East students. And it's just cool to be able to say, I'm an alumni of that. And these kids have done so many cool things. Our whole staff is always excited to have East students involved in projects.
How have your local East programs worked with the CSC?
Yes, so we have several programs that have worked with us over the years, primarily Sonora Middle School, also you guys at Helen Tyson Middle School, and then Springdale High School. Those are our kind of primary helpers, and those have translated into some really cool projects. The biggest project is every child that comes to the center gets to put their handprint on our walls. And when we knew we were moving into this new beautiful building, we didn't know how those handprints were going to translate. They were literally on like the walls. We can't move all of the walls. And so East came in, and that was started with Springdale High School and Sonora Middle School doing a virtual tour. And then Springdale High School came in and took photos of all of the handprints on the walls. That project, because there were so many, became something that several East programs shared in digitizing those handprints so that they could be used in projects. So they are projected on the outside of our building. They were used by the architects to work into some wallpaper on different projects. And now we have them. We've been able to send them to people who are helping with other marketing things that we're working on. And they've been such an asset. So that was one big kind of first thing. But honestly, a lot of them, it's so much that I don't always remember. So you guys have to remind me sometimes. But I know for sure we have a really cool virtual tour of the building that your program at Helen Tyson has worked on. And it is a really cool tool. Right now, it's focused more on like adults and donors if they want to see what the building's all about. It's got links to videos, links to our website and resources and all sorts of stuff. I know we've talked about expanding that and making it kind of a twofold thing where it's also going to be accessible for kids. If the kids go onto the website and want to see what they'll experience and who they'll meet, kind of expanding that and making it twofold where it's for adults and for kids that are going to use the center. And one really cool project that we always love and that the staff is excited about are you guys created Kramer, our therapy dog, and took him and made him into a like pillow, a stuffed animal kind of pillow. And the kids love it when they go into therapy. It's been really cool. Kramer is a huge tool for us. A lot of kids don't want to go to therapy initially, but then they hear that they get to go sit with a dog for an hour and it completely changes. And so having that as a tool, I'll also say that we had been looking into spending upwards of $20,000 on some custom stuffed animals that looked like Kramer. They were not going to be fully out of pocket. We were going to work on a grant where people could buy one for themselves. And when you buy one for yourself, a kid gets one, kind of that sort of program. But still, it was going to be initially $20,000 to even be able to start that project. And you guys have provided us for free with Kramer pillows, stuffed animal sort of things that kids feel tangible, feel just as good as whatever we were going to spend on this other stuff. And so that's one like really cool thing that I think you guys don't even know the cost savings you've provided us.
Well, you talked about the hands, and I think that the handprints are really cool because whenever it gets darker outside and they glow up and you drive by, like that's something you like, oh, that's the Children's Safety Center, like kind of something people will remember.
Absolutely.
Are there any favorite projects or moments you would like to share more about?
To do with East or with the program, with just the center as a whole?
Either one.
Okay. There's so many. Okay. I think for me, one thing that initially came to mind was talking about the handprints. That's been my project really since I started. Literally, I started in January of 2021. And in January of 2021, I was told, we are building a new building. We haven't gone public with it yet. We have been talking to some donors. And the first question we get asked is, what are we doing with the handprints? And it was basically like, and you're the marketing girl now, so you get to figure that out. And that's really daunting because there are thousands of handprints and every one of them has this unique, really special story. They are so central and important to what we do and who we are and the makeup of our organization. And so I really sat on that and struggled with what we were going to do. And so to have the community kind of wrap their arms around us in the way that the East programs have, to make sure that those handprints were really put on a pedestal and really shown and conveyed to the community in a way that they had never been seen before. They were never projected on the outside of our building. You had to come into the building to see them. And now that they're like kind of plastered on this busy road where everyone can see them, none of that would have been possible without East programs. And so 2 things that stood out to me in terms of moments where that really came through is having some of those Springdale High School students had been coming in every week to take photos of these handprints. And I don't think it like ever computed like the magnitude of what they were doing for them for a long time. And so we were wrapping up in one of our main rooms with like the most handprints. It had jungle themes, so we had to pull stuff off of walls and found handprints underneath things. And I just sort of, it was not even an interaction, but I just saw a kid kind of stand in the center of the room, and he was kind of just turning around and looking up and down at the handprints. And I finally was like, oh, they got it. Like it hit them today what that really means. And so that was one moment. And that was a long time before we moved here. In December of last year, December of 2023, is when we first showed the community at our grand opening the handprints on the outside of the building. I'm really not much of a crier, and I hadn't really cried up until that point, but I was standing at the back getting content for the Children's Safety Center's Instagram, and those lights flipped on, and it was just, you could hear people went silent, and then they were cheering, and it was just, I will never forget that moment, and really felt like this big huge project and this very daunting idea of moving all these handprints was accomplished in a way that was really going to make an impact. And I'm really grateful for the help that you guys did to make sure that that could happen.
That's great that the East programs were able to help you guys in such a way that really made you like feel emotional.
Mm-hmm.
What do you enjoy most about being a community partner?
Wow, I enjoy getting to see kids. I mean, my job here at the center, I'm not really interacting with our clients and with students. And so it's really fun for me to get to hear from you guys. There's always new ideas, things I've never thought of. There's always new technology that I didn't know existed, and you guys get to do these really cool things with. And I am always just so excited when we get to go talk to you and we hear all these different ideas. I think that's like the most exciting thing, because I am really fueled by creativity, and I always want to be doing something new and be ahead of everybody else when figuring out how we can problem solve and spread awareness about what we do, reach more kids, all those sorts of things. Because I always say people get sad when they hear our numbers. And I always say we have to see a lot more kids before those numbers can start going down, because we know how few kids talk about the abuse that's happened to them. And so one of my favorite things is just hearing from you guys. Miss Barry was just talking about in your class the other day about how a couple years ago, kids did a whole presentation. They put together a presentation out at the center and gave people pins when they went through the class, so that they always wore on their lanyard a Children's Safety Center pin. And it's just hearing those things. You guys are doing a lot more than adults do to protect kids. And I think that getting to hear from you guys and that you care about something that is directly impacting kids that you sit next to at school, that's my favorite part.
You said like we do things you wouldn't have like an idea, like you wouldn't have thought of yourself. And it's kind of great because like you would not have thought of that. But then while we're doing that, we're learning as we go as well.
Yeah, you are. It's really cool.
What would you like to say to other people and organizations in our community who haven't worked with East before about becoming a community partner in the future?
Wow. I tell everyone in the community I know that they should work with East. I think that people really underestimate the younger generation. I mean, I'm technically Gen Z, and I just feel like all the time people have these misconceptions of young people and what they're capable of. And you're capable of so much more than people give you credit for. And I think our world moves so fast that people come in and want you guys to be perfect and basically be adults, but you're not adults. You're learning and you're students. And so I think that it is great for businesses to reach a younger generation, because then you're getting, number one, you're getting ahead of all of your other competitors, because you're hearing from your future customers, your future clients, all of those sorts of things. But then also, you guys do provide really incredible, valuable work at no cost to the organization, to the business, or whoever, whatever problem you're solving. And I've said this before, but there are at least 3 projects I can think of that we had been exploring avenues to complete them, and they were going to cost $10,000 or more to get them done. An East class came in, talked to us about what they were going to do, brought the project to us, and we did not spend a penny. And those things are still just as high quality. One thing people forget is that constructive criticism is the way that we grow. We do it at work. I do it as an adult at work. And so there have been tons of projects you guys bring to us. They're amazing. And we say, hey, we'd like to take this to another level, kind of like our virtual tour that we've talked about. And let's do this to make it even better. And you guys are so receptive because you are hungry and ready to learn and grow and get better. And so that's the coolest part in working with you guys, is that you take criticism really well because you're looking for it and you're seeking it out, and you want to get better and make the best product for your client.
Well, you said like how we were able to help you guys save money. So that's one way we've helped you. But like when you think about it, East, we wouldn't be able to do anything without our community partners, because who would we be doing these projects for? What problems would we be solving? And like, we need you just as much as you guys need us.
I think that's why it works so well. So that's a great point.
Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, Gabby, I would love to hear from you. And your time in East, what are you most excited to accomplish? What would be your goal for when you leave East?
My goal for when I leave East is for East to, so right now East is in like many schools, but I want East to be like everywhere you go, there's going to be like an East program somewhere. So I want like East to get the word out about East more than it already is, so that like more people can like get help from East, and students can also learn from East. What
do you think needs to happen for people to know about East and want to use you guys as helpers?
Well, this podcast, because we're getting like talking to you right now, like maybe the person that's listening is also like having trouble doing something, so they might see if there's like an East program around them, and then maybe someone's also listening, but they don't have an East program at that school, so they could start it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I always love to talk about East.
Thank you for listening to Empowered by East. If you'd like to know more about East's mission and how to get involved, please visit eastinitiative.org and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at East Initiative. Remember to subscribe to the podcast to be the first to listen to new episodes as they release. See you later.